And we are back. I'm Chris Drew from not from Best Damn Media. Ron, can I do that back one more time? I'm
Start it
Chris
again.
Drew from Menace to Sports. That's my guy, Ron from Best Damn Media. We're here bringing you some more Buckeye content. Damn, not a great start for me, but you know how it goes. What's going on, brother?
I know. I think the price just went down to sign you to Best Damn Media with a mistake like that, but I'm glad to be here. Always a good time here on Bleacher Report, and we're here to talk about what's next for Ryan Day.
Yeah, what's next for Ryan Day? Obviously, things have not gone how you wanted if you're an Ohio State fan, if you're a Ryan Day fan, if you're Ryan Day himself. One of the games that he said was of so much importance, of course, was that Ohio State-Michigan game. And now it's been 3 straight years since you've won it. You got to be frustrated, confused. You feel like you had the better team 3 years in a row, and yet you got handed 3 straight losses. And we got to talk about the future for Ryan Day because a lot of people, are calling for his head. Some people want him to kind of call for some corrections. We've got things all over the place in terms of Ryan Day, but I'm ready to talk about it, Ron. Unfortunately, I'm ready to talk about it.
Let's go. Let me know where you want to jump right in.
So first of all, just real quick, Ron, we got to hit what happened yesterday. So we always talk about how recruiting and college football and programs are so momentum based. Obviously, you lose the game against Michigan, that hurts. And to pour a little bit of salt on the wound, a little bit of sprinkles on top of the cupcake, Ohio State loses a commitment from one of their 5-star linemen in the class of 2024. It hurts. Flips from Ohio State to Miami, Ron. Explain this one to me.
Merry Flipmas, man. It's flip season, and the Buckeyes are not immune from it. And it seems like they're a likely candidate every year for one big flip right around the deadline. And you see Justin Scott go to the Miami Hurricanes, Jason Taylor, the defensive line coach there, Larry Johnson getting up there in age at Ohio State. A lot of people have been calling for his retirement for the past few years, but I mean, they saw this class that he put together in Edric Houston and Justin Scott. And a lot of people wanted to rain on the class and say there wasn't depth within the class. Yes, Larry was signing these 5-stars, but he's putting all his eggs in one basket. And I mean, we're down to 1 5-star defensive line commit right now. And to see Justin Scott leave this class and go to the Miami Hurricanes, it just went 7-5. It hurts. When it rains, it pours.
It hurts. And it's funny, Ron, because I am not in the fire Ryan Day boat at all. And it feels like this flip is being used to fuel the fire Ryan Day boat. And it's like, oh, give me a break. It's Miami. I know it stings. I know it hurts. But in no way, in no point am I going to fire Ryan Day because Miami has enough of a bag to get guys to flip from. I mean, listen, if the kid wanted to flip from Ohio State to Miami, I hate to break it to everybody, a win over Michigan wouldn't have changed that.
Absolutely. And I thought you were going to go another way with that. A lot of people said a guy that flips from Ohio State to Miami is not the recruit that everyone's been clamoring for as far as the one that's going to take the game seriously, as far as beating Michigan and truly care about that rivalry. And if you're an Ohio State commit for 5 months and then you see Ohio State lose to that team up north and your instant reaction is that's never going to happen again at Ohio State, it's I want to go to Miami. I don't know if that's the guy that you wanted there to beat that team up north, or if he's going to have that not that there's not a single Ohio State fan that didn't want Justin Scott. That's not what I mean by that.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
absolutely.
he's not going to have that mentality
that
everyone's craving for, that you see out of a guy like Jack Sawyer, that you hear is one of the few guys screaming in the tunnel coming out at halftime. Because he's a Pickering kid, he's from Ohio. He understands this rivalry. He grew up within it. And I don't know if someone that's flipping from Ohio State to Miami is quite bought into that rivalry as maybe a Jack Sawyer.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I hear you, bro. And there were a lot of recruits that maybe don't get talked about, don't get the pub. Guys that were frustrated, guys that want to come in and win at Ohio State, guys that really trust Ryan Day. And it's dang, if a kid wants to flip, so be it. It's wild to me, Ron, that the decision of a 18-year-old kid who was promised an exuberant amounts of money, how that somehow factors into, yeah, maybe we should look away from Ryan Day.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame anyone for taking more money. We've all been there in a situation where it's I like my job, but they're offering me more money over here. And I mean, most times that I've been in that situation, I know what decision I made. So I'm not going to fault the kid. Go get that generational wealth and take care of your family. Best of luck to Justin Scott at Miami.
Yeah, that's a fact. And I'm looking at the chat right now. You know, there's some discussion going on about should Ohio State fire Ryan Day, yes or no, this, that, and the third. And Raymer with a good point. He missed one kick and is a horrible call away from being considered coach of the century. I mean, honestly, like he is 2 calls, 2 coin flips away, and a Chris Olave broken off route to maybe being a 1 or 2 time national title winner. So
I know it's crazy. We're here talking about what's next for Ryan Day. We just talked about the evolution of Ryan Day and why we thought he might be on a potential Kirby Smart trajectory. And it just shows how serious the fans of Ohio State take this game against the team up north. Because, I mean, 2 weeks ago, we're talking about could he be on a Kirby Smart trajectory? And now here we are. What's next for Ryan Day? And people are talking about potentially Ryan Day moving on. But before we move on from the recruiting, Chris, I want to ask you, do you expect more losses from this Ohio State 2024 recruiting class? I have this as a poll in the chat. I want to see what the chat's thoughts are on this. We talk about, you hear people saying fire Ryan Day. You see Jim Knowles interviewing at Duke. You see Keenan Bailey interviewing at Eastern Carolina for the offensive coordinator position. What is next as far as this recruiting class? Could there be more departures from this class? A lot of eyes are on Jeremiah Smith and all of the schools in Florida. He was just at the University of Florida. A lot of smoke around Florida State. And, of course, you can never count out the hometown team, the Miami Hurricanes, who just took another player from us. They took Mark Fletcher from us last year. There's been smoke around Jordan Lau. Could the Hurricanes tap into this class again before the end of the year? And do you think Ohio State recruits are safe, especially with all of the uncertainty around this coaching staff and this program?
It is interesting because, I mean, I think naturally maybe I heard a rumor from a pretty credible guy that Miami kind of ran into a little bit more cash. They did a good job with some fundraising, and the Bleacher are kind of ponying up, getting ready for this kind of final stretch. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose one more to Miami, maybe if it's a Jordan Lyle. If someone had the death being pointed at me, I'd probably say that Jeremiah Smith does commit to Ohio State and does stay committed. And if not, you still got to feel like you're good with the top 10 class. I mean, go win with what you got. Like if it's going to take Ryan Day and company losing some of the elite and 5-star guys to really invest more and more and more into developing guys, then so be it. Cool. Go take a 5-star, because this program used to be built a little bit differently. And Urban Meyer would have a 3-star guy every single year that they poured so much development into to go be a good player. I mean, people don't know, like Denzel Ward, 3-star player. Michael Thomas, 3-star. Like, we had guys that were 3 stars, and those guys were able to get it done. So
do you know what university has the highest rate of 3 stars that make it to the NFL?
They do. Ohio State, and I believe
the Ohio State Buckeyes
came in the Urban Meyer era. So, you know, NIL is making things the Wild West, like my guy Sewell just said in the chat, and it's going to continue. And schools like Miami that are going to, you know, hit exuberant amount of money are going to continue to kind of make things difficult. But I do think Jeremiah stays with Ohio State for what it's worth, and I think he is the best wide receiver prospect we've seen this decade.
Absolutely. That would be a heartbreaking loss, and we will absolutely not be able to live that down on the timeline. So
be a bad deal. But I want to jump ahead, dog, because like it's crazy we even have to talk about this, but like people want to know about the future of Ryan Day, a coach who has lost under 10 games, like what his future is. I'll ask you, do you think Ryan Day should be fired?
No.
Cool. No. Just want to get that out there before we get into any conversation. Should he be fired? I think absolutely not. Like, that is asinine. 10, 11, and 12. Should he look in the mirror, look at himself, Ryan Day, make some adjustments? Oh, absolutely. Because there's a reason with one of the most talented rosters in college football, you're not going to make the playoffs. You got to do some self-reflecting at least at some point.
Yeah, I feel like Ryan Day is a victim to the standard that Urban Meyer pounded into the Ohio State fan base, that we should win a national championship every year. And even Urban only won one and only made one appearance. But I think that run of dominance over Michigan gave Buckeye fans a level of entitlement. And at least maybe I'm speaking for myself. But like every year, we expect the Buckeyes to be in the conversation for the national championship and to have a chance to compete for it. And like we said last year when we lost to Michigan, did the standard change? Did someone change the standard? And I forgot, because people were like, why do Buckeye fans expect to win every year? I was like, I thought that was the goal. Yeah, that's the goal. And maybe the standard has changed, but not to my knowledge. I still think this team expects to compete for a national championship every year. And despite Ryan Day's low amount of losses on his record, I don't think this is enough for Buckeye fans because they're hungry for a title. It's almost been a decade.
The losses are loud is the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just loud losses. And so it does make you wonder a little bit. Now, after this season, Ron, I want to ask you, this loss to Michigan, has it changed your level of trust in Ryan Day, at least moving forward as a head football coach at Ohio State?
No, because I think with any other quarterback, he would have won that game. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, the defense this, and it's not all on Kyle. I think Ryan Day is competing for a national championship with a different quarterback. I'll be interested to see. And I feel like my opinion will change based on how Ryan Day handles this quarterback situation going forward. If he rolls it out there with 6 again, are you going to show me that you are the quarterback guru you were touted to be? And are we going to see the development that a lot of Buckeye fans feel like Kyle McCord looks like the same quarterback that they saw go out there and struggle against Akron as a true freshman? And is he going to look like that again next year if you decide to roll him out there as the coach or quarterback? Or are you going to make a tough decision like you did with the defensive coordinator position and get rid of Kerry Combs and Matt Barnes situation and go out and find the best available option in a Jim Knowles? So, I mean, you see Dante Moore in the portal. You see Cam Ward in the portal. Yeah. You have Devin Brown, the number 1 rated quarterback by On3 in the 2022 quarterback rankings.
Number one rated player.
Yeah, number 1 rated player, not number 1 rated quarterback. Number 1 rated player in the 2022 recruiting class. Is this guy going to get a chance? And again, to the development, like, can you not get either one of these 5-star quarterbacks in your room ready to play? So I feel like my opinion on him is pretty much based off of what happens with this quarterback decision going forward.
Yeah, Ryan Day. Ryan has to look himself in the mirror. He deserves to keep his job 100,000,000%, but he needs to look in the mirror because something has to change after back-to-back losses to Michigan. I mean, now 3 straight. You cannot have the same coaching staff, same quarterback, same everything. And I'm ready to get to a point where I think he needs to take more of the CEO approach, something he wanted to do last year. And he's going to have to ruffle some feathers for the sake of the greater good rather than for the sake of protecting feelings. And what that means is, Ron, they're going to have to make some staff adjustments on offense. And if that means taking away the offensive coordinator job from Brian Hartline and calling plays or getting someone else that you trust to call plays, that has to be done. Like, if it means, finding a new quarterback coach, one that you don't have to feel like you're the full-time quarterback coach as well, someone to kind of bring a different look, someone with experience, do that. If it means firing your special teams coach because special teams has been a problem this year, do that. So I think Ryan Day absolutely deserves to keep his job, but trust-wise, I'll trust him more if he starts to make move on the coaching staff, moves that I think deep down inside he knows he needs to make, but worries about kind of the egos that come involved with that. Because Brian Hartline, we know he's great, he's phenomenal, has done a really good job. But if you can't trust Brian Hartline to call plays, why make him the OC and you only get a certain amount of slots to hire full-time coaches? So something's got to change. Not sure if it's really possible this year, but you can't roll out there next year because what's the definition of insanity? Trying the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different, result. 6 can't be the quarterback, and I think they needed a new special teams plan altogether.
You brought up special teams. I mean, there has to be changes on the staff. You asked Zach on the show this week, if Urban was still the coach, how many people would be fired after 3 losses to Michigan?
Mm-hmm. All of them.
And it seems like special teams coordinator may be a casualty at the Ohio State University this offseason.
Yeah. How would you grade this year, this Ohio State season? How would you grade Ryan Day this year compared to the last 2 losses he had against Michigan in those seasons?
It's interesting because I view all 3 of these losses in different ways.
Okay.
I feel like the first one, they just got out physicaled. I think that was the one year that Ohio State was soft. And we saw the way that Oregon was able to have success against them. And I mean, anyone with eyes that watched that team knew that that defense wasn't going to be able to get them anywhere. He took a step forward. I think CJ took a step the following year. They're within 1 field goal of a national championship. I don't know how much the signs came into that, or if Michigan is just that, if they've leveled up that much as a program in the last year. But with the way CJ Stroud has been having success in the league, I find it hard to believe that that was all just on Ryan Day, the struggles that they had against the team up north. And then this one, I feel like he brought the team without the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they're losing for different reasons, but I guess this year I wouldn't really put on Ryan Day because I feel like he put his quarterback in a position to win and he didn't. I mean, we saw the all 22 film and Kyle is missing people that are wide open and he's misreading it. And I mean, how much is that on Ryan Day's lack of development of the quarterback? I guess he could take some blame, but I feel like outside of the quarterback position, Ryan Day brought a team ready to win.
Yeah, 100%. Now, staff changes that maybe might be a little more painful. I would like your opinion on this. If Jim Knowles ends up taking the Duke job that he's interviewed for, he wasn't in the building 2 days ago, or yesterday, excuse me, at Ohio State, because he was meeting about that Duke job. Would that be a massive blow to Ohio State moving forward?
Absolutely. I mean, this would be Ryan Day's third defensive coordinator if he were to have to get a new one.
Yeah.
No, fourth. Jeff Hafley,
Carey,
Matt Barnes, and Carey. I mean, you had two different play callers during that season, Jim, and then whoever the next one is. I think that level of turnover is a problem. And I don't know. And we talked about the level up that this defense was able to have this year because of their level of comfort, the amount of time that we saw our defense out there looking confused or out of position during hurry up offenses was reduced drastically this year in year 2 of his system. So if the Buckeyes have to learn a whole new system, they're going to be having a new Mike linebacker call the defense. I think Jim Knowles would be a massive loss for the Buckeyes if he were to go to the Blue Devils.
Yeah, I consider Jim Knowles a massive success at Ohio State. I know people are going to talk about the Michigan game, but if you remember, Ron, you know how many points Michigan scored last time Ohio State blew them out?
24.
Correct. 24 points, and they got absolutely blown out. That is a good mark for the elite college football teams. So I think Jim Knowles has been a success. It would scare me having to watch and wonder about a guy like Ryan Day, who's an offensive guy, without really the vast coaching network, having to go out and hire somebody else. Like that would at least concern me at some level. And we'll see if he takes the job or not. But I'm really hopeful that Duke makes a mistake and hires a guy like Manny Diaz. For Ryan Day, how do you feel like he fared personnel-wise? Do you think he played the young players enough this year? Or is that one area you'd like to see him grow in?
I do. I think the young players played more than we have seen in years past. I mean, you saw a good rotation with Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson getting in. You started to see Hero Canoe towards the end of the year. You saw a guy like Malik Hartford in contention for a starting position at the beginning of the season and then ended up playing against the team up north. Jermaine Matthews looked like a stud when he got on the field. We saw Carnell Tate get a lot of run. Would I have liked to see more of Jelani Thurman and Brandon Ennis? Absolutely. But I do think they showed a willingness to play freshmen this year.
Yeah, no, they did. Now, I will say I would like them to use more of the receivers. Guys like B.I., I would like to see him more. I mean, I think they did not have to burn his red shirt to only get him 2 targets. I think that's a guy that could have returned punts at some point in the year.
I feel like the red shirt, though, is I saw a lot of people up in arms like, why would you waste his red shirt? I'm like, I feel like the blowing of Brandon Ennis's red shirt was a statement that we know you will not be here for 4 years. Like
he's definitely a pro. He's definitely a pro. I mean, he'll be a pro at some point. No, other than that, I mean, I do wish they would have got Brandon Ennis more than 1 target, but I'm not super bugged by it kind of in a vacuum. I think that this year they did do a good job playing more young guys. I wish they would have seen Malik Hartford a little bit more in the middle part of the year. Felt like you saw him a lot early, and then late he made the mistake against Michigan that wound up costing them a touchdown when he could have had a really easy interception. What other areas, at least personnel-wise, growth do you want to see from Mr. Ryan Day?
I feel like Ryan Day has issues with his sportsmanship. Like I feel like Ryan Day being a nice guy and not running up the score sometimes and running the ball and not letting people get reps towards the end of the game is hurting the program. Like we used to see young guys play entire fourth quarters. We don't see that anymore.
Don't see it at all.
We're not putting up more than 40 points in games.
Yeah, I would like to see kind of Ryan Day go to full blitz mode, like Ryan Day go crazy and kind of like be up 40-0 at the halftime, and then you could see other guys play. I think that's important. I think that's how you really build depth. And additionally, other than building depth, that's how you keep guys healthy. And you're able to get guys out of games.
So you bring up keeping guys healthy. We see Tommy Eichenberg out there trying to tackle with a, torn up elbow, issues with his bicep. And Jim Knowles said at the beginning of the season, I have to do a better job of getting Cody and CJ more reps so Tommy's healthy at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
How did that turn out?
Not well.
So before we before we jump forward into potentially next season, some other things here, I wanted to ask you, how would you grade Ryan Day's performance so far this season?
So far this year, I'll give him a B minus. I know you won 11 games, but the way you won the 11 games was never always in elite fashion. Nothing wowed me on offense. I thought the defense was really, really good, but I think honestly, he was paralyzed by fear and paralyzed by pride. And because of that, he decided to roll with number 6 for the whole year instead of a guy like Devin Brown who gives you more in the run game and more in the downfield passing game. So for me, I'll give it a B minus. And honestly, like to have some sort of something, because Kyle McCord does not want to be a starting quarterback at Ohio State, and to continue to trot him out there when he looks like that is abysmal. And we've seen some of the great coaches all around college football kind of make the adjustment, make the swap. And even a guy like Bama and Jalen Milroe, he got benched. See who got behind him, because that's
For Tyler Buckner and their third string quarterback, I believe, Ty Simpson?
Yeah, well, they do that to stimulate something. Like, if me benching you does nothing to you, then cool. We don't need you to be our quarterback. But if me benching you makes you want to work that much harder, let's go. Even Ole Miss. Like, Ole Miss had Jackson Dart returning. They wouldn't got Spencer Saunders, a guy who threw for 3,800 yards and was a captain at Oklahoma State. And they did that because they wanted competition. Then Jackson Dart won the competition, and they made him that much better as a player. I think you gotta see if Kyle McCord has any fire in him, and you got to do it by starting with benching him in the bowl game at least.
I would love to absolutely see Devin Brown get an opportunity, because I don't think we have the answer in 6 at quarterback. So I feel like that is going to be priority number 1 for Ryan Day, is to come to a decision with this quarterback room and do it with conviction.
Yeah, that's a fact. Got to do it. Got to get it done. Got to get it done. When I look at next year, Ron, talk to me, bro. Is Ohio State going to avoid a 4th straight loss to Michigan? And could Ryan Day survive a 4th straight loss to Michigan?
Absolutely not. He cannot survive a 4th straight loss. I feel like Ryan Day has been done a favor by Gene Smith announcing that he is departing from the university in June. And I don't think the Buckeyes are interested in hiring a new head coach without a president or with a lame duck AD that is retiring in June. So I think Ryan Day saved himself. I said at the beginning of the season, Ryan Day could lose this game 75-0, and he would still be the head coach, because they're not letting I don't think Gene Smith is interested in hiring the next Ohio State football coach on his way out the door. And I don't think they're interested in having a new AD make that their first decision, is hiring the head coach for the cash cow of the athletic department. So I think Ryan Day will be a pillar of stability for whoever takes over that role in June this year.
You know what? I think the only thing that I don't think he'll ever get fired, but I do think the potential to return to the NFL is the one.
And that's something that you've been worried about. Ryan Day, a New England guy. Could Ryan Day be the successor to Bill Belichick in New England?
Doesn't it? Follow up a legend, have it be pro style. I mean, you basically have the NFL version of Kyle McCord and Mac Jones.
Mac Jones has completely erased any expectations for that organization. It's like, if this is what you're putting out on the field, no expectations to win here anymore.
That's a fact. And I think Ryan Day to the NFL is a legit thing. I think that Ryan Day to the Patriots is a legit thing. I think that may be the only job Ryan Day leaves for. And it makes you wonder, like, if he does go to the NFL, who's next? Would Ohio State take a dip? And who do you go after?
My vote?
Yeah.
I'm going for Mike Vrabel. Go get him. Former Buckeye, square jaw guy. He's been on this staff before. He's had great defenses. I think he'll bring a level of toughness that Buckeye fans desire, and that would absolutely be my first choice if Ryan were to see an opportunity in the NFL and leave the Buckeyes behind.
You know what's funny, bro? People ask if Vrabel can recruit. Vrabel was on staff for 2 years and landed 8 4-stars, including Joey Bosa. Yes, he can recruit. And I love Mikey Mike, and I really do. But if Mike tells you no, I'm not even going to hold you. Bring me the young Urban Meyer. Bring me Dan Lanning. Bring him.
Is
I'm
Herb
here
out there
for it.
recruiting for us? Because, I mean, Urban has been showing Dan Lanning some love in the media as if Dan Lanning's name was Corey Dennis.
I'm not going to lie. Facts. Facts, bro. Like, Dan Lanning's the one, bro. And I've been saying it for over a year, bro. Dan Lanning is the one. Urban said it reminds him of young. Like, he basically said, when I watch you guys play, it brings back memories. That brought a tear to my eye. If you want to watch Ohio State Urban Meyer level football, turn on an Oregon game. Because, boy, it's going. I would give him, in fact, I'm not going to lie. I would pay Dan Lanning more than I would pay Ryan Day. Swear I would.
I mean,
Swear
if
I
Ryan
would.
Day, I feel like if you lose Ryan Day to the NFL and with the timing that it would be, you got to be in full scramble mode. You got to empty the vault. You got to go right the ship immediately.
You smack $11 million a year on his desk and ask him what house he wants in the Columbus area, and they'll buy it for him. Facts. But look, bro, next year, I think this Ohio State offense under the right quarterback could have exceptional potential because of this receiving core that's coming back. This might end up being the saving grace for Ryan Day, and this might end up being the group that absolutely terrorizes the Big Ten.
I mean, this group is my saving grace if Six is the quarterback next year because they're the only reasons why I would still watch this team. Mm-hmm. You know, I am a South Florida Express stan. These two guys, Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis, were absolute terrors on the 7-on-7 scene when they were in high school. And we saw what Carnell Tate was able to do in his limited action as a freshman. Brandon Ennis gets in and takes a slot fade 56 yards for a touchdown. These guys are the absolute future. And I haven't even begun to talk about Jelani Thurman, who's 6'5", 260 pounds as a true freshman and runs like a deer. I mean, the former number one target for future Ohio State quarterback Aaron Nolan in Georgia, another true freshman stud that I think the Buckeyes have a ton of talent. And if Ryan Day is back next year, which I assume he will be, he is going to have another loaded roster.
I'm not going to hold you, bro. This is why I'm not super concerned if we miss out on Jeremiah Smith, because two guys not pictured, Noah Rogers, Bryson Rogers, guys that got their black stripes off earlier than some of these guys. I mean, we're talking about a room of 4 dynamic playmakers that really have a shot to get active and get after it. And I'm not going to lie, without having a far and away breakout superstar, we might finally see a rotation from Brian Hartline's room.
I hope so. One could hope. And I've probably said it at least 10 times here on Bleacher Report over the course of the season and on other platforms. The 2023 recruiting class will win a national championship at Ohio State. There's just absolutely too much talent on this team. You brought up the Rogers and Bryson and Noah, the two freshman wide receivers that are not pictured in this. You have Jermaine Matthews, Calvin Simpson-Hunt. There's just so many talented kids in this class that I think that they are going to bring home that natty for the Buckeyes.
Bro, eventually. The dogs are coming back, bro. We're getting
back.
The dogs again, man. I'm talking about the guys that hooped outside in the black Air Force Ones, bro. We're getting those guys on the football field again. Like no more of the Prada shoes. Get me the guys that wore the black forces with
Stop it.
I'm just saying, bro, get me the guys who get 25 boards at the pickup game.
Bro, you can't.
No, I don't want the guys that have the rec dealers. I don't want them to have a gym. I want them to hoop outside on grass.
You just told me no more Prada shoes. We got Brandon Showtime Ennis on here who went to prom in a Gucci suit and Lamborghini truck, bro.
That's fine.
The swag is here. I don't know about black Air Forces, but I know the swag is here. I'll tell you that.
The swag is here. I got you. But I'm just saying, bro, I need someone on my team who maybe hoops outside with the ball that got 4 bubbles on it. The guy that will try to dribble. I need the guys on defense that will dribble the flat basketballs, man. I need it, bro.
Absolutely. I think the Buckeyes are going to be fine regardless of their head coach, regardless of their quarterback. They just reload, and they will find a way to get it done. I do think Ryan Day returns to a loaded roster next year, and they do finally get a win over the team up north after 3 straight losses. I think the Buckeyes return a significantly more talented roster, much more experienced roster, and I think they will be a problem to be reckoned with next year despite their struggles this year. And we're talking as if this is doomsday. The Buckeyes are still going to be watching the TVs on Saturday for an opportunity to still compete for a national championship this season. I know the Buckeye fans are down after a loss to Michigan for 3 straight years, but hope is still alive for this season. But a look ahead for Ryan Day, it could be a playoff berth or it could be an off season with a lot of questions to answer. Chris Drew, let the people know where they could find you.
You can find me at an outlet somewhere looking for a pair of black Air Force Ones to give to Ryan Day because I need my team back. I need him to get it together.
No more Air Maxes.
No more Air Maxes, Ryan Day. Put a pair of black Forces on and get it together.
You heard it here first. Ryan Day will be in black Air Forces the next time you see him on the timeline. If you want to find me, you can find me on the timeline at 2_TES on Twitter. You can find me on the Best Damn Media YouTube 7 days a week. We are live, so make sure you check us out over there. And of course, you can find us talking all things Buckeyes here on Bleacher Report. And always a big thank you to them for having us. Go Bucks and OHIO.